Okay, alrighty, here we go. We're live and streaming to the internet. So welcome to this week of Terry's Tech Show. And this week we're going to cover using OBS in some more remarkable ways. This time, a big tip of the hat to Dan McDermott and to Mark Mason, who were both using the OBS software in really cool ways, incorporating Hangouts-on-Air and other streaming content coming from various sources into their show using OBS. So they're combining some live mic stuff and some streaming content that's coming in through different windows. So the big challenge tonight is going to be to get a Hangout-on-Air happening, and I'll do that by just using a shortcut. Let me go right to saving, showing you some screen stuff here. Okay, here we go. And so let's say show a window. See, is that this full window? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now you're seeing me, this is the preview window, getting monitor capture, and the Logitech. And I can turn off the Logitech and just see the monitor capture. You get the infinity effect happening up there because we're looking at OBS. So let me go ahead and take OBS itself and kind of shrink it down a little bit and make it so you're not seeing as much of this preview window. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, there we go. Trying to get it so all you see is this part. There we are. And so take that out. Okay, that looks good enough. Okay, so I'm going to using Google. As you can see, I'm moving this around, and in fact, for right now, let me move this up out of our way. There we go, and I'll just go ahead and use the bit.ly, start my HOA. This is a shortcut for getting into a Hangout-on-Air. And here we go, as you can see it, starting up, and I'll give it a name, HOA to OBS, and start her up. Here we go. Now, because my my camera is in use, I have to turn it off, and I don't have a third camera to put in here. I've got the blue eyeball in the other room. I could go get it, I suppose. But for now, we're just going to for this part of the demo, I'm just going to worry about having that. Yeah, we'll just go without a camera because I just want to show you how to get this basic screen inside of another input. Okay, so there we go. And as you can see down here, I've got some audio happening, and it's flashing at us, so you can tell that we are in the green room. Okay. All right, so let me take this window and kind of stash it somewhere. Stash it up there and bring up OBS again. I've got a second monitor that I just put that on. And the thing we're wanting to do is, see, right now we're doing monitor capture of this entire monitor. So we want to set up a scene where we're bringing in an HOA. Okay. So how we're going to do that is a few different ways. One is you can set full browser window in here and set it to what you want. And so I usually hit refresh, and let's see if this works. We'll try to do entire window, and let's see if we get it. I have to turn off my monitor capture and turn that on and take a look. See, are we getting anything? I don't see anything. Okay, let's try again. I'll know when it's working. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. It might be because I've gone and moved monitors to this upper monitor, and now it's screwing up. 1 second. Okay, let's try it again. This might eventually work, don't worry. I could just grab a window, of course, but I was trying to get it from a second window. And capture layer windows just in case. And folks, I'm not seeing it. It's not seeming to work. Let me see if that's just because I'm too small. Oh, it is because I'm too small. Okay, well, monitor capture is working great, so let's move this out of the way. Okay, well, now obviously you can see it because I'm in monitor capture, and that's working okay with this. Let's add another scene. I don't know why that didn't work, because it worked before just fine. So I'm going to add a scene and get HOA, and I'll throw in a, well, for now, let's just to get it to work, let's just get a window capture. And HOA, and this should be what I'm getting. So okay, well, it's showing that. Oh, that's what we, yes, okay, good. So now you're seeing the stream of that thing. So for some reason the other window capture I did didn't work. Maybe it's because I was getting a global source and had to actually change it in the global sources. Let's see. This monitor capture, full browser window. Let's see what happens. No, it should have been getting it. I don't know why that wasn't getting it. Maybe because it's sharing a scene with a monitor capture. Who knows? That could be a little quirky thing, because I had a monitor capture scene in there, source in there. Okay, so now you're seeing that that I'm able to get this in there. Okay, so that's great. But what if I want other stuff in there? Okay, so let's start adding some scenes. I'm going to add my camera. So now we know we can get an HOA, and you can have any number of people in there. And yes, you're going to need to split your camera or have two cameras in order to get the camera into OBS at the same time as to the HOA, because the HOA won't accept a camera that's already assigned, apparently. Alright, so Logitech, and there's that, and we'll edit the scene, and we'll put me over here so that I'm at the left of this thing, and I'll take the scene of the HOA, and I'm going to make it smaller. How's that sound? There we are. Alright, so now you're getting the idea that I can have me talking over here, and I can be looking over there and making believe I'm talking to the people over there at the Hangout, right? And have it coming through. So you get the idea? You get the idea? So so that's the basics. Now you probably want to have some kind of a picture, and I'll just grab a global source I already have in here. Don't I? No, I guess I don't. So I'll put an image in here, an image, and browse for something, and that looks just fine right there. Okay, so I'm going to put this image and make it be the background. So it's huge at the moment, so I'll just shrink it down, and that's fine. And now I'm going to right click and change the order, and I'm going to move it down or move to bottom. So I'll move it to bottom. Okay, so now we have two windows. We have my webcam window, we have an HOA right over there, and we have a background picture. Okay, and now this is all very nice, but do you see the HOA is on top of the other stuff, on top of the picture? Now you can crop this, and okay. Oh, in fact, you're not seeing a darn thing here. I've got the wrong screen open. All right, so let me show you all that again. I'm so sorry. I'll edit this. Okay, so as you can see, this is the scene that I've ended up with, is this monitor share. And now because I've got this HOA on the same screen, let me see if I can move it and still follow the window. I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah, it looks like it might work. Oh, okay, it does work. Good. Alrighty, it's kind of tiling a little bit, isn't it? And what I did was I moved it up to another window. Now I've got this kind of funny freezing effect going on. Let's see. Let's change it to a separate monitor. Alright. Well, okay, so you're seeing some glitching going on. Now I'd like to show you, if you hold down the Alt key, you can do things like crop stuff, okay? And I just sent this HOA up to a 1024 by 768 screen, I believe, or 9. It might be the other size. It's a smaller screen. It's not 1920, but the whole point I wanted you to see is that you can crop things. You hold down the Alt key when you have the arrows down, and you can start cropping out. You can crop out the thumb. You see, you can crop out these parts down here, the film strip and thumbnails, and you can crop out the top. You're supposed to leave the Google branding in there, and but so consequently, and then you can take this whole cropped thing and expand that to be any size that you want. Get it? So so that's kind of convenient. And so now I have this stuff and it's on top of a picture, and so this is the most rudimentary kind of a format that you're seeing here. And yeah, and I suppose actually before you were seeing it okay, weren't you? I was just looking at the wrong thing. I had you on the upper screen. I'm going, oh no, they can't see it because I'm doing window capture, but of course you could see it. You could see whatever I was seeing. I don't know where I get it, but now you got the other dose and you've now seen how to crop. So okay, so this is a basic. Now let's say we wanted to get a more interesting kind of a scenario, and mind you, the alt click with the arrow here to resize to crop this also works, so I can crop this also. Okay, and if you've cropped and you don't like it, you can right click and go to position size and reset the size, and then reset the crop. Position size, reset cropping, and it gets everything back to normal. Okay, so let's go ahead and shrink it down again. Isn't it great that you can do all this on the fly, by the way? I think that's one of the coolest things about the OBS, is that you can be moving all this junk around on people and they get seeing what you're doing. So anyway, so we got this great scene with the trees, and I can move that so it's over here and we're seeing our trees, and I can bring something else in down here, and it could be a video or be anything you want, right? So so that's awesome enough. But let's bring in a picture that has some holes cut in it. And by that I mean a PNG that's already got a transparent hole. That way we're not just seeing this hard edge frame. We can make a kind of a cool frame to be around this part in here where the HOA is. Or I could make a frame to be around my webcam too. You can make frames with anything. You just create an image that has that. I've got an example here in Photoshop, and I take it that you're seeing that. Let's see. Let me move this up here. And no, you're not seeing that. So let me let me add that window. Window capture, Photoshop. And that would be that, I suppose. And there you go. Okay, so now you're seeing, this is a capture of a Photoshop window. Okay, I'm just showing the image content itself. I could show the whole Photoshop window, but I wanted you to just be able to see this. And you notice this is transparent in here, a bunch of little checker boxes. And it's an image from our local coffee shop, Muddy Waters, here in Elizabeth City. There's a plug for Muddy Waters. Thank you for the photo. And this transparent thing here, because this is on top of everything, it's not acting as transparency at the moment. Plus it's in Photoshop. You're not actually seeing the image, okay? So let's bring in that image instead of the trees image. And I'll browse around for it. Let's see. I believe it's, oh, it's in my pictures. And up here, there we go. Here's the coffee house. So bring that in instead and make it big. And it's got this hole in it. It lets you see through to the back. So anything that I put behind it is going to be hidden behind it. So let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see it, what I'm doing. And I see you're seeing my window here. Okay, so I'm in the way of myself. There we go. Okay, so let's take this HOA and edit the scene, the HOA part, and I'm going to drag it so that it's here, and I'm going to change its position so it's behind the image. So I can right click and say order, move to bottom, and bingo, now you see the frame is overriding that part. So I'm going to take that and make it a little bigger. And I learned this little trick from Dan McDermott to make it a little bit more interesting. This frame is not perfectly rectangular. It's just a little bit less than a parallelogram, with these two closer together than this. But okay, so let's keep my little Google logo in there and shrink this a little bit. And so now you can see how I could go ahead and crop this, or I can move it up. But we do want it, it's supposed to keep the Google logo in there, but yeah, you know, if you can't, you can't. Now, so this could be a whole bunch of people. I could be hiding the film strip down below. I could be showing it. Could be making that visible. And it's all hidden behind this thing, this part. So let's go ahead and make the HOA invisible again. And anything could be behind that thing. So I'll go ahead and put this below the position size. Order. Send to bottom. And pick it up and move it. So there you see. See, it's hiding behind the picture, behind the transparency. Okay. So let's go ahead again and look at Photoshop. And let me move this out of the way. And here you see the image and that I'm working on. Let's go ahead and bring in all of Photoshop instead of oh, that's the Logitech. Here we are, Photoshop. And instead of just looking at the portion, I'll look at all of Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so there you have it. And so what I did here is I simply cut a hole in here, and this isn't showing it as a layer, but I started with just a picture, and I suppose I could start with that that picture that I opened a minute ago and just create one of these. But you start by cutting a hole. It's the 16:9 thereabouts type of a ratio. Okay, and you're basically just chopping a hole in the image, or you could use a mask, but you're going to eventually save it as PSD. If you make a mask, of course, you have to, as PNG. If you make a mask, you'll have to save it as PSD, a Photoshop document, in order to keep the mask and all. But you'll eventually output it as a PNG, Portable Network Graphic, I think that's PNG stands for. And so let's go ahead and let's browse. I'll find just a full image to use. There's flower I've used for other things. Yeah, that's big enough. Let's go ahead and see if I can make that full size. Well, that's not going to really be a good example. It's not big enough. It's actually pretty small. So find something else. There you go. Get the same folders I was getting those other pictures from. Or maybe from here. I have enough darn big pictures, so there should be no problem with finding big pictures. Finding pictures without stuff in them might be another thing. These are the famous pigs from out in Lexington, the super pigs, painted pig sculptures. Here's the actual original that I used. Let's see, it's one of these. There, that's the original. Okay. I used this to make another example. So what you do is you make this so it's going to be fitting I cropped it so that it fits the the size that I want. So you want 1280 by 720, okay? Not inches either. px. There we go. I don't know why I have that set so it's not at px. All right, there you go. And just make a crop, and it'll keep it at the 16:9 that you want. Okay, and so now I have a cropped image. Okay, and so now you want to cut a hole in it that's also 16:9 in size. And there's a few ways you can cut holes. You can crop. You can make a selection, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's see, which do I want? Style. Here we go. Fixed aspect, fixed. I'll do fixed size and just well, fixed aspect ratio. I'll do the 16:9. Hope that's right. And just sort of stretch it out. Here we go. So now I'm getting a 16:9 aspect ratio, and I can put it anywhere I want. Can you see these little curly things? This is how I'm doing it in Photoshop. And then simply with that selected, I can just hit delete and make a hole, but that doesn't make it, in a background image, that's not going to be quite enough. You have to do what is it? Well, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and double click this thing because I like you working on mask. Create this into a layer, and now you see, now if it's not been double clicked, where it's no longer called background, you have to double click it and change its name or let it be called the default of layer 0. Then you can hit the delete key and it deletes to transparency. Otherwise it deletes to white background. But the better way is to do the double click, get rid of the background layer, and then go down here to the bottom and add a mask. And now invert that mask, that mask with the Control I. And so now I've basically, here I'll make it so you can just see. See, I've just made a black space with this, and I can do various things. I can do free transforms on this, so I could shrink one side. Oh, that's transform. Sorry, I don't want to do free transform. Get out of there. I could do things like paint some color in here to make it be less straight. Okay, and because let's see, free transform, it's distort is what I'm looking for. Here we go. So by using distort, I can just take and bend part of this image and not the whole thing. I see I've made it difficult on myself because now I can't see the whole. There we go. All right. So grab this and bend it down. And this is how I'm making it not be a parallelogram. Forget what I'm saying. After I'm done, I can move all of this around. Here we are. So now I got something that's not a parallelogram. Sort of like Dan did. Okay. And I can then hit enter. And I got something that's not a parallelogram, but it is a mask. So go ahead and alt click. And now you see a non-parallelogram hole that's sliced in the thing. Now mind you, this is a mask in here that I'm working with. And looks like I've gone and taken the whole image content and made it distorted. So hey, pay no attention to anything. Okay, let me just undo this. Good grief. Easier way to do this is just to take the paintbrush and paint some some white here where you want it to no longer be parallel, and use that as part of the making the frame. Because wherever you paint with white, and I can click once and then click again with holding the shift, and it will undo the whole. Except for some reason, oh, I've got it in overlay mode. Please have it in normal mode. I was doing a demo last night that involved overlay. So click once, hold shift, click again, and it'll make something like that. Let's try this again. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit lower here and hold shift and click at the top. And there we go. Now I just made a nice little angle. And click a little deeper in here and click right at the very edge here. And you see it chopped it. So now I have that. Now so that's what I did to the mask. Now let's actually add image content on top of here. So let's click back to the image and let's make a new layer. And I'm going to paint with this green gaudy color here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click once on the very edge. And I'm going to click again, holding shift. And then click again, holding shift. And it makes these nice straight lines. And this is just to make the most basic frame. Okay. There we are. Alright, so now I've made a frame around the thing that my HOA or any other content can peek through. And I can bring in as an image. So now when I save this as an image, save for web. I'm going to show you a way to do this in Pixlr too. But okay, so not as a JPEG. It's got to be as a PNG 24 that has transparency. PNGH sort of a fancy GIF. Do it in PNG 24 to have the best effect. Save it. Save it to the desktop as bridge with HOA hole. Alright, great. So now we've done that. Let's go ahead and make it so you can see our OBS again. Alright, so we'll take out Photoshop. And now I'm going to replace this image with the other image. So just double click this and browse for the image that we just made, which I put on the desktop, correct? And I thought I put it on the desktop. Bridge with HOA hole. There it is. And ta-da! So there we have it. Now that's been moved, so we have to put we'd have to resize my picture in order to make it fit for my my camera. But you get the idea. This is sitting behind, and there we are. Okay. On edit the scene. Now you couldn't see what I was seeing, but when I hit edit scene, I get little handles, little handles that I can grab hold on to and resize things. As far from what I understand, though, you don't see that in the actual output. You just see me suddenly moving things, but what I'm doing is grabbing hold and able to move things. So as you see, I've created this image rather quickly. I punched a hole, I added a frame. I could have been a lot fancier in how I added the frame with my choices of brushes and made it a lot more interesting. Okay, so that's all very well and good. Let's go ahead and get the HOA in here instead, and I'll move my my camera over here again and put it on top. Let me just move it up and move it up again, or I could have put the image below. Order, move up. There we have it. And I got my HOA, and it's obviously behind the image, right? Which is what you want. And just resize it. Grab the handles on the corner handles and size it the way you want it. Okay, so hopefully this is kind of making all kinds of ideas come through your head of possibilities. Of course, I could make a frame for this side too, just as easily, right? I could easily have made a frame and decided what I was going to crop this to, or not even need to crop it, just make a hole that it was going to be the whole size hole I always put things through, and then move this this camera so it's always peering through the hole. All right. By the way, a tip for if you're using Photoshop and using masks, a lot of people just don't get this part. Wherever it's black, you see through to whatever's below. If it's not background layer, if it's a layer 0 or named layer, then what's below is transparency. Okay? So think of it like a keyhole when you're looking through a keyhole, and the keyhole's black, but you can look through it and see what's in the other room. And that's the black part is what you see through to what's in the other room. Okay? And I made just that visible by alt clicking on the mask itself. Remember to click off and click back on the image if you're having to actually manipulate and paint on the image or do other things like that. Okay, so all right, that's all very well and good. Oh, hey, wait a minute. There we are. All right, I just realized I did not show you the Photoshop part. It's so confusing, you know that? Ugh. It really gets confusing. Let's turn that image off and bring my Photoshop up. And it is showing, okay. All righty. Just resize this. Over here on the right, where where I was clicking on the mask is what I wanted you to see. Alt clicking on that like that brings up so you just see the mask. And like I say, where it's black is like the keyhole. You're peering through it to whatever's below. Since there's nothing below this layer, it sees transparency. But if it's not double clicked, if it's still called background layer, then it sees white. It doesn't see transparency if you delete. And you can't add a mask to a background layer. You have to do something to make it into a named layer. All right, so clarifying that. Okay, good. Yeah, it's a good thing I got two monitors, or I'd never figure out where the heck I was, what planet this was. Okay, so back to seeing the image again and the HOA, and let's turn off Photoshop. Now, I'd like to bring in a image that's from another computer. There's the way that I'm doing this right now. We've actually been pretty lucky because I haven't noticed any dropped frames, in spite of the fact that I'm doing this show at 1080p. And so I'm feeling really, really fortunate about that. And so, by the way, if you ever have windows on top of windows, like you see this, they say to have arrow turned off so that you don't have windows occulting windows or something. But anyway, I just wanted to check my since I've got the YouTube on top of the HOA, so the HOA space is what it's actually seeing. But yeah, it looks like everything's looking good. Okay, that's what I want to know. Great. Now let's say we're going to bring in the HOA from another source. I have tons and tons of memory, so I can run a lot of different programs. And according to this graphic here, let me see if I can bring this up and get it in the picture. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I'm maxing out with 70-something% by running the encoder and running an HOA at the same time. Okay, and the HOA is at least functioning. I mean, I can see my volume control working and all that kind of stuff. But one issue that you may have is getting the audio of the HOA in there. So we're going to have to do that too and still not max out this. But I'm just glad to see that I'm doing okay on this level. But how do you bring the audio of this HOA into the picture? Well, that's a little bit tricky, and I probably should devote a whole show to that, because there's really at least 4 ways I can think of right now for getting the audio in, and you're going to want to know that part. So let me first show you the way it would be done using your stereo mix, if you've got that on your computer. Okay, so let's let's show. Oh, I'll go back to here. 1 second. Okay, so now you're seeing my basic screen. If you go down here to the very bottom right, see where I'm moving next to the clock, there's a little icon, and it's your volume control, little speaker icon. You have playback devices and recording devices. Now, playback devices shows that I'm using, getting my signal from the line out, and but I have all of these other devices in here. Notice I have this VB audio virtual cable. I have virtual audio cable that I bought, and I have voice meter input. These two, cable input, VB audio virtual cable, and voice meter, work together, and that's why I'm going to devote a whole show to how these things work. Voice meter is a free thing that you can get online, and let me just show you where to go to get it. So let's go ahead back to, well, I guess I'll just move this screen down to here so you can see it. 1 second. Make a new window. Okay, hopefully you're seeing what I'm seeing. Let me just move this out of the way. Looks like it. Okay, good. All right, good. So, voice meter, voice, V-O-I-C-E-M-E-E-T-E-R, voice, M-E-E-T-E-R for voice meter, okay? And it'll do its search. Still not a single drop frame. I'm so happy. And there's VB audio voice meter. And there's also a great video right under it that shows how to use it. That's better than the video I will make. Okay, I will make a video that shows how to use it in conjunction with the HOAs. But this is a great tool to get, voice meter. And I'll bring you to the page. It works in conjunction with the virtual audio cable. So that you get that, and so you download the voice meter software, and you download the other as well, the cable. Okay, and they may come together at the same time, but as you can see, you get cable output and voice meter output. You output signals into this mixer thing, so the special virtual cable that you can send several different signals to by various means. There you go, it's a better picture. The virtual input has EQ, it's got volume control. You can send it to the A or B output so that you can be monitoring your signal without through one means, and sending the signal to another output with different volumes. And it's a way of controlling which hardware the output goes to. So I could be having this signal not going to be, for instance, but these two going to be, and just be monitoring for some reason. Okay, but that's the whole point. You get two different outputs to be able to link into using your audio settings in OBS. And the easiest way to do that, I mean, there's several easy ways to do it in OBS for audio. So let me bring that back into the scene. For audio, you hit, let me stop editing the scene. You hit your settings and go to audio, and you've got several different inputs. You see I've got a cable input from virtual audio cable. That would be if I was using a voice meter as my desktop audio device to send it to. That would be my this input that was on the right, okay, of these two. But you can have other hardware inputs. You can have a direct in of your microphone. You can have a direct in of another source like a capture card, or and many other sources. Music, many media players will play into this thing directly. You can select it. Anyway, you'll see that, watch that video, you'll get the idea. Usually your microphone, as in my line in, is the Scarlett 2i2 USB interface. This could also just be your microphone. I have tons of inputs. See, it could be virtual cable, it could be voice meters output, and etc. But the voice meter thing gives you a lot of flexibility. So this is desktop audio device is usually where you're picking up external sounds like game music or any audio that you're able to hear over your speakers. Okay, another really cool way though of doing this that I really like is getting the audio from a plugin that is called Direct Show Audio Source plugin right here. And if you don't already have it, you can go to OBS and find it in the plugin section. I'll show you real quick how to get it. And so let me move this out of the way again. Well, the fact that it keeps showing whatever I got there. Okay, OBS project. For the plugins and stuff, you go to the forum, click on search, type in Direct Show, and yeah, maybe I have to put in a little bit more than that. Direct Show plugin, perhaps. Audio. There it is. Direct Show Audio Source plugin. Okay. So it's an RE, but I don't worry about that. Just kind of go to the top to the first page. And there it is. So it's Direct Show Audio Source plugin is what you're looking for. There's a 64 and a 32-bit version, so get the one that's right for you, just like you got OBS in 32 or 64-bit, depending on your computer. And once you download it and you drag it over into your plugins folder for OBS, and remember to, just drag it into your plugins folder. Then it'll show up in the OBS list when you click on plugins, and you'll be able to see it in here. The Direct Show Audio Source plugin then becomes something you can assign a global source to. Like I've got a couple of things hooked up that way, but it's very easy to just, let's see, here, right, add global source, and there it is, Direct Show Audio Source, and you give it a name, and then it comes up, and here now you can pick from any of your inputs, including these virtual cables. And like I say, the one called cable output VB for audio virtual, that's the free one that I showed you that comes with voice meter. Okay, and they also make one called hi-fi cable output that's actually used for jack audio and stuff like that. And the voice meter input I have down here, and cable inputs and the voice meter output. There we go. So we have all these different sources, or every source is shown. You would be using one of these outputs as the thing, and so you could use the voice meter output and make that into a signal source. Or you could get stereo mix, or you could get another microphone, a second microphone, or virtual audio cable, or any other input that you happen to have around here, and assign it as an audio source, and it'll grab the audio and insert it. Like say I was going to use my Blue Eyeball, which is the same thing as a Snowflake by Blue microphone. Just it has a little video camera built in. Make sure you output to your stream, and click OK. Output to audio to desktop makes it so only you hear it. And well, just a couple of different nuances to that. But this way, now that that output would go to the into the signal. Okay, so now let's imagine, let's go ahead and remove that one. Let's say you wanted to get your HOA from a different source, like from a say you have a capture card. Then I have one set up here to get audio from my Windows 8 machine, okay, that I have connected by HDMI into here. And so I've got a separate mouse, of course, to control that. And let's see. Where the heck did I put Chrome? I thought I had Chrome right in front and center. I don't. Okay, let's type Chrome. There we are. A little rough seeing stuff on here. Let me just full screen here for a sec. Okay, so I got that. Let's go ahead and this computer, by the way, that I'm looking at is so slow. It's unbelievable. And we're going to start an HOA, so go ahead and do that. Slow pokey computer. It's funny because I doubled the RAM in it. It's still slow as molasses, but I have not done anything to optimize it, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Oh, I'm clicking with the wrong mouse. What a fool. There we go. That's never happened to anybody here, I'm sure. Alrighty. So now we have an HOA. Now, gee, it would be great if I could cut and paste between these machines. So I already have a Hangout going on, and gee, I wish I could cut and paste between these machines. But you get the idea that now I have an HOA over there, and I could do the exact same things as I did before. I could bring that stream into my HOA. So instead of using this HOA here, I could turn that off, and I could add, and I happen to have a global source that is my my StarTech HDMI, and you need to resize that. So let's edit the scene and shrink her down and crop it. I don't have that that other one full screen at the moment. Let me yeah, let's go ahead and crop the dickens out of this thing. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key. Oops. There we go. Hold down Alt and crop. And crop again. I didn't crop enough. And crop some more. And all I'm doing is taking this screen where the Hangout-On-Air is coming in from my other computer and cropping it down. And now I can stretch it into place to be the size I want. It's probably looking like crap because I didn't optimize anything. There we go. Alright, so now you can see how that would be, and then I could send this to the bottom, and it's behind the window. Okay, so that's how you would bring in a capture card. Now, getting the audio from the capture card is well, it's easy with using these plugins. See, I have a global source already assigned. That's my card audio that brings in any audio from that card. So if I were talking into the microphone, I'd be able to hear it and it would come through. But I didn't start it yet, so it wouldn't happen. But you have to do the same kind of finagling to get the audio out of the HOA and into the cards or output, into the speaker output. And so you're either going to have to use stereo mix, or you're going to have to use something like the VB audio cable or voice meter in order to get it out. But like I say, once you see how cool those things work, the voice meter particularly, it becomes very, very much easier than using the Windows tools. Now, the Windows tools, let me just show you quickly. Make sure that's showing in the screen. No, it's not. So let's see. Let's go back here to full window. There we are. All right, so I've got this screen here that you can see, I hope. And for stereo mix, you have to do quite a bit of jumping through hoops. For starters, you got to make speakers be the default output device. And that's kind of a pain. Some computers won't show the default output device unless there's something plugged in. They won't show speakers, I mean. They won't let you select it as default unless you have speakers actually plugged into it. I have a little dummy cable that I plug in that was a volume control for headphones thing. In fact, there's a little resistor in there, fakes out the system enough that it's convinced that there's speakers plugged in. But you could plug in an old pair of earbuds or something, just have them lying over there. And so I'm just saying, in case you don't have anything plugged into speakers, so that you can select them. You got to send the audio to the speakers in order for stereo mix here to be able to receive any signal. Okay, it's the only way it can receive signal. If you're getting your mic in through another input and you want to include that into the stereo mix and be sending all of that out, though I recommend using your mic direct, but you're going to have to somewhere get mic, you know. Well, just use the mic in OBS, the mic input in OBS. If you use this trick, which a lot of gamers use, you will wind up hearing some echo or delay that's enough to drive you mad. But you would use the listen tab right here. You don't make it the default device, mind you. You simply hit listen, check that box, and you send it to stereo mix. Okay? So as what you're listening to. No, you send it to speakers, I'm sorry. You send it to the analog speakers. So again, it's got to be the analog speakers, because that's where stereo mix gets its noise, is from the analog speakers output. And so that's why it's sort of limiting. That's why that voice meter thing is much, much better, much more powerful. But you would check that box and instantly it would send it to the down here to the stereo mix, and it would become audible. Let's see if it shows up. Yeah, as you can see now, that's bouncing around because I just sent this to the speakers. And now it's, mind you, I'm still using this as my default device for this show. And let's go ahead and get this out of the way so you can see that my, as you see, my meters are still working just fine here. But now I'm sending the signal, because this thing uses a different subsystem. It's getting its audio directly from the subsystem, all right, using its own types of virtual audio cables. But to get my stuff to stereo mix, in order to send it out like the HDMI or something, yeah, then I'd have to, and I may even have to take stereo mix and then listen to it further and send it to the HDMI output. Okay, because I'm coming out, my audio is actually the HDMI. And so let's see where I have that in here. And it's is that this? I can't, I'm going blind. Well, I don't even see it. But anyway, you'd send it to that device. All right, but that's a lot of rigmarole. And like I say, that's actually a good subject for an entire video that I'll do. What I might do with that one is just create a regular video and upload it to y'all and include a link to it in this show notes here. That'll make it easy for you to find. So be watching for that. I'll make that over the next couple of days. I have to really practice a little bit myself with the whole audio thing myself to really give you what I would consider a definitive, easy, just do this step-by-step answer. But in fact, that'd be a good idea. Wouldn't you like to have a step-by-step checklist? I bet you would. Okay, well, we're just coming up on an hour now for this show. And I think I've shown you enough that your brain is probably starting to bleed already. But hey, we have some interesting stuff to do with the direct show audio source plugin now you've learned about, the voice meter. So I've got you on the right track to where to go for getting the information you need, okay? And for doing the HOA, let's get this back into the main window. For doing the HOA, where you have the where you have the capture, that you'd want to see to get the HOA from the rest of the world, you would have this kind of a setup where, again, you can either get it from your capture card, or you can get it from the local computer. Okay, and I showed you how to put an image in back on top of all of this, so that you can cut windows and things, and have a mask and use that. And I hope that that's probably the coolest thing that you learned tonight, was how to do that. There's a way that you can do this in Pixlr, pixlr.com's editor, and I'll be providing a way to use masks in a completely separate video that's going to be devoted to the people that watch my Pixlr tricks videos. Okay, but I'll share that in the show notes too, so you can see how to do it in pixlr.com's free editor, in case you don't have access to a Photoshop type of a tool, or Photoshop full-blown, in fact. Again, I'll show you where Pixlr is. In fact, it's a good idea if I show you two things. Let me get this thing up here. Okay, Pixlr. If you go here to pxlrtemplates.com, you'll see a page that I created that's got a whole lot of preset, and there's a video on how to use this that I made. A whole bunch of preset things that you click on the link and it opens it up. So say you want to make a Google Plus cover image, or a Google Plus event header template. The sizes are already in here, so you can see what the sizes are. Make a lower third, for instance. Same thing with Business Hangouts. I've got different image sizes that they use. YouTube's image formats for their cover, and desktop banners and stuff like that. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all of these, they're just a click away to open up a thing. So I'll put in some clickable links to bring you. That'll open up some files that already have a window in them. They'll already have a layer. It'll be multi-layered, and we'll have some windows open perhaps. I'll see what I can do, but I'll make it so it'll be just as simple as doing this. Click, it opens up pixlr.com editor, and bingo, you've got your template. So this is just a blank, and then you use up here, you go to layer, and you open an image as a layer, or from your computer, or you open a URL from somewhere else, or if you have stuff in their library, you can sign up to have stuff where they save it for you. You can put it in there, and so you bring that in, and then you add a layer that's going to have your little window on it. Okay, so again, just to show you how easy this is. Let's see, I was going to get the old Google. Well, here's a 1280 by 720. Bingo. There's a 1280 by 720 HD size window that you would use for a lower third, for instance. And it's the same rules as for lower thirds. You leave it transparent, the parts that you don't want, that you want to be able to see through. Okay, where you want your image content, your OBS stuff to be able to peer through. You just leave that window open, and you have an image to bring in. So I'll go ahead and real quick, I'll bring in an open image as layer. Let's see if I can find an image real fast. Yeah, there's one. Bring in the cypress trees. There we go. And notice it's made a new layer on top of the transparent layer. And now I can go ahead and make a selection, and it lets me constrain it where I say aspect ratio, or I can say fixed size. I'll do the aspect ratio again, 16:9, and now anything I draw is going to be the rectangle of the 16:9 HOA type format. Hit backspace, and there I have it. I've done it. Okay, and that's if you're going to use the delete method. Otherwise, use the mask method. It's the same deal. In the same location, you click on the add layer mask, and then you invert it with Control I. Oops, no you don't. Control Shift. Oh, drat. Where's the invert for the layer mask? Is it Control Shift I? Yeah. No, it's not. Yes. Oh. Sorry. I just remembered. With this program, you have to invert the selection. Okay. So you go to Edit and invert selection right here, and there is no shortcut key for it. You invert the selection, and then you add the layer mask, and then it puts it in the right place where you cut the hole where you want it. Okay, so remember that you make your selection, fit the fixed ratio 16:9 by setting this to aspect ratio up here, and then you invert it by actually going to Edit, Invert Selection, because there's no shortcut key for inverting selections, and then you go down here and add the layer mask, and that'll make it so that you can now move this darn mask around and do things. You can yeah, you can get a little bit more done with it. Actually, I'm not sure how much you can actually move this darn thing. I've never tried, but anyway, so as you see, there's a bunch of different techniques you can be fooling around with to make image content. And I hope that that's enough for tonight, and that you haven't lost your mind, and instead you said, oh, you know what, that was really cool, Terry, thanks a lot. And so there you go. So that's it. Let me say good night, and I look forward to seeing you next week. This was the last of the OBS series, I believe, and we'll be jumping on to some other topic areas next week. But if you want more OBS stuff, let me know, and leave a comment, plead, beg, whatever you want. You know, leave money in my PayPal account, do anything. Buy me a coffee. Yeah, no, but for the asking, if you want more OBS material, more stuff, I'll be providing it. And I am going to promise you that audio follow-up video will be listed in the show notes as soon as I get that thing done, which should be this week. Okay, so let me get back to my my YouTube window so I can see it and stop this stream. All right. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out with me, and have yourself a good night. Bye-bye.